Welcome CSC 230 to exercise 17, which is a continuation of exercise 16, which we never got to in the spring 22 semester, but for fall 22 we're going to do this. So we're going to do the mobile portion, and what that means is after our layout looked like this at the end of the last video for EX16, what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that it resizes and gets to about 760. Now actually, as I'm resizing, I just want to point out that we're going to use something called a non-breaking hyphen and a non-breaking space to keep some words together so that the paragraphs don't break in odd ways. But before I do that, let me just move all the way over here. What's going to happen at about 760 is the menu is going to go away, the nav menu, and we're going to be left with a hamburger menu here, or hamburger icon. And this is our mobile layout, and notice what's different. The logo is smaller, it's centered, our headline is smaller and centered, we don't have our navigation here. This is all centered. We took the images out. They could certainly stack above each other. These phone things aren't supposed to be here. But what's going to happen is then we click on here, you can see we have a JavaScript that's going to initiate a little drop-down menu. Now I didn't do anything with this yet, and I don't know if we will. Matter of fact, even when you resize it, I don't have a refresh script in there yet to make it go back to normal, so you just have to refresh it. But as much as we have time to do, we'll do. But the main thing that we're going to do first is basically just resize this and get it into mobile format. So using our media queries to do that, and we'll only use one. And the only thing you may need is this hamburger menu. I'm not sure if you have that yet. I will have that to download. So we're going to do that first and adjust some of the sizing around here. And let me just show you some of the code. I did do this in the spring, but I never did it as an exercise. So a couple things going on here. Here's our media queries. It's going to be at 760px. And you can see there's a lot going on with our header, with our banner, with our nav menu, with nth child, so that we can actually hide the hamburger menu, then we could display it. This is displaying the hamburger menu, where initially it's going to be set up so it's there, but then it's hidden. So right now the hamburger menu is here, but you can't see it. So we're basically going to display it with our query. And some of the other things, just the padding and font sizes and things like that, are going to change. So not a whole lot. Most of the layout is going to change on the top, and we're going to hide images. So that's what's going to happen. Also, I just want to point out there's a JavaScript here. Instead of using jQuery, I just put together a standard JavaScript, since that's what we've been doing. Here's the event listener here that basically allows you to click on the hamburger menu and then show the drop-down menu. This portion of it. So this portion of it here, where you do this. So that's what the JavaScript's going to do, except we're not going to use jQuery, and we're actually going to use a loop to go through all of those elements by class name. So 0 through 4 by class names, we could use a loop and do that. Now, we haven't done a loop, and we haven't got real deep into JavaScript yet, but just to point out what this is basically doing this. Basically saying get elements by class name, and getting the first element and changing all these things, and then getting the second element, changing all those, getting the third, getting the fourth. I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of doing all that and having all that code, a loop basically just goes through there and uses a variable that represents either 0 through 4 by using this loop. So it goes through 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So as it adds up to that, so as it's less than the length of how many are there, then it'll stop at the end. And then we'll also make the hamburger menu disappear, because we don't need the hamburger menu anymore. These links would go to different pages. These would be, rollovers and go to different pages. I haven't built that all in yet, but we're just kind of taking this one step at a time. So we'll see how we do with this. We can even add more to this as we go. But I just wanted to introduce you to this, to exercise 17. So we're not finishing up with 16. We're going to keep going here and do the mobile layout. So that'll be coming up next, and I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you how to set up the folder and do all that. And that's going to be for EX17. It's going to keep working on our EX16. Actually, we shouldn't have to make a new file. We should be able to keep building from the one that we have for EX16. So that's what we're going to do for EX17, is going to be keep building on that, unless we need to do a separate one. So we're just going to add a hamburger menu, and we're just going to add a JavaScript file. So that's going to be coming up.